What is going on, comic fans? Welcome to the Legion of Comics. I'm Mark. It's Sunday night. That means this is at week's end. We're about to take a spoiler-filled look back at this week in comics, movie, news, pop culture, all that stuff. And this was a massive, massive week for announcements and all kind of stuff. Looking forward to diving into it. Don't go anywhere. Hit that thumbs up. Check this out.
Me.
There you go.
Hey, what's going on?
Joined as always by the co-hostess with the Moses, my sidekick here, Mr. Sector 2815. Hero support.
How are you doing?
Doing good, doing good. Real quick, I do want to say a big shout out to Big Time Collectibles. If you're looking for any exclusives, con books, mystery boxes, monthly subscription stuff, they got you covered. They're the best of the online retailers. Be sure to check them out. And if you need anything cleaned or pressed, look no further than Justin's Comics over on Instagram. Let him know you found him via the channel. Take advantage of any kind of special offers that he has running. And a huge shout out to ABX Comics and Games. That's where I pick up my books every week. Fantastic shopping. They have a Facebook group if you're looking to keep up with the hobby of comic books, tabletop gaming, anything of the sort. So you can check the link in the description of any of my videos and find links to them as well as to Paul, where you can also find me playing sidekick on his channel, where we do the DC Comics deep dive, as well as the premier #1 comic book game show this side of the Mississippi called Guess That Key, which you could be the next contestant on. Just reach out to Paul.
Let me know.
To battle it out on that. Paul, what's on the deep dive tomorrow?
Tomorrow we are talking about Batman #147. It's an off week for House of Brainiac. We've been going into House of Brainiac, but nothing came out this past week. However, Batman #147, Part 3 of Dark Prisons, has a lot of stuff that's going to be very impactful for Absolute Power, and that's really the next big thing that DC is doing, their next big event.
Yeah, Absolute Power is coming fast. I'm very excited for it. Every week that goes by, everything's kind of building more and more to it, and it's just getting more and more exciting. So, yeah, I'm pumped for that. Definitely pumped for that, including this week's books.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say to a few people in the chat real quick. We got Las Crucias 1971 here early. What is going on, homie? Trev the Shipping Guru. What's up, player? How are you? Comic Cap Collectibles. Good to see you. Good to see you. Just a few people in here. Rolling in. They're rolling in. So, I'm going to talk about the Legion loot real quick. I'm doing it a little bit differently for this month and next month. So I'm putting together like a massive one to celebrate the release of Deadpool. We're getting a project from Disney Marvel that we're all actually excited about for the most part. I haven't really seen anybody that's not excited for it. And to celebrate that, I want to do a big giveaway. So I'm going to combine those 2 months so that I have more funds to work with. To do it with. So the memberships will have to roll over from this month and next month, and I'll have all those names and I'll enter them in. And I don't have everything right here that'll be in it, but I've got a few things that will be in it. Of course, the big time collectible books we have. I'll make myself bigger for this. Some Wicked things, some Miles Morales Spider-Man stuff. We have Tyler Kirkham Star Wars #25. Some foily goodness for the Flash #1.
Very nice.
And they have one of the 8-bit Deadpool books that were an exclusive for theirs as well. Taco Time 2. Hard Shell Edition. So those will be in there. And then Deadpool artist Jerry DeCary, he came to Augusta, Georgia last September, and I had him do a couple of pieces for me. And I had him do one for me to keep, but I had him do one in anticipation of this movie coming out. So I actually have an original sketch of Deadpool by Deadpool artist. Nice. That I'll have framed up. That'll go in there as well. And of course, there'll be a lot more other things I'll pick up along the way, but there'll also be a first appearance of Deadpool going in there for this one as well. So it's going to be a pretty decent size shot there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
There's the watch. They're watching their bodies.
This is the one I got to get the frame for. It'll go in the giveaway. When the Deadpool artist, when he came to Augusta, I had him do Superman for me, and this is the one that I tucked away.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Thought so. It'd be a shame to give it away, but I've had it for a while. It'll be fine. I bought it to give away. Yeah, so that I'll just build on that, and I've got ideas of what else is going in there, but I got to get my hands on some of the things. So we're gonna do a big one. We're gonna do a big one. Excited about it.
Yeah, you always play the long game with these things, which is good.
Yeah, you've seen the stack of stuff that I have sitting down. You're just waiting for stuff to happen. Yeah, that's funny. I guess I do speculate on comics. I just when they go up in value, I have them for the giveaways.
Right.
Yeah, but it's been a huge week. I mentioned it earlier at the beginning of the stream. There's been hi Taylor Winder. We're proudly representing Taylor Winder tonight.
Mm-hmm.
None other than the owner, sole proprietor of Winder's Wieners.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, banger, great giveaway. Yep, I appreciate it. Yeah, I picked up that New Mutants 98 from ABX Comics and Games. What is going on at Comic Issues? Good to see you in here tonight. Hello. Yeah, but it's been a huge week. I don't even know where to start, so I guess we can just. So obviously, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes released this week. We're going to be talking some Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I don't know if you want to do that at the front end here. I don't really think it's a movie that too many people are worried about having spoiled for them. It's not like it's like a Marvel or DC movie or anything like that. And there's only so much mileage you can get out of it as well. So, but there's tons of other announcements and things to dive into. So, where do you want to start?
Whichever you have all the things lined up to flash on the screen. So whichever you decide, I am ready to go either way. I don't want to do that one though. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Yeah, let's start with our second favorite JSA.
Yeah. Which is something signature authentication.
Yes. Yeah. So they CGC unveiled their new label that you'll get with a CGC and JSA. It won't say witness. It'll just say authenticated. Apparently. So.
Yep. And I think it's like what $25 or $20 on top of the grading fees for the authentication process. And they're also doing something that I guess will be the first time with comic books. The other companies don't do. They're offering to grade the signature itself as well. I don't even know how or where you begin to do that, but I guess in other collectible areas, that's something that's done. But as far as the label goes, this is what a lot of people have been waiting on to see what it'll look like. It'll just have that black bar going across the top. And I think it looks good, to be honest with you. I think it looks
I mean, it looks like the yellow is not quite as bright as it is for regular. I mean, that could just be the the
saved image.
Exactly, the saved image that they put out. But to me, it looks like the yellow is a little bit duller than the regular one. But again, that could just be the image. But otherwise, it pretty much invokes a regular signature, but clearly has the JSA at the top, so you know that it's something that was authenticated and not necessarily witnessed. But
I like the font. I like the CGC X JSA authentic in bold letters, but then autographed on there. It looks professional. It just looks really good. I think I think they knocked it out of the park. To be honest with you, like at this point, it's just like time will tell kind of thing.
Yeah, and Comic Issues asked, no, actually, it's an extra $25 for the verification of the signature.
Yeah,
so you do $25 for the grading and $25 for the signature.
Yeah, so that's on top. So the grading prices on everything remain the same. Just if you want something authenticated, it's an additional $25. And I've got that king size Hulk 1 signed by Steranko that I got signed last year at Heroes. I've just been kind of waiting and sitting on my hands, like I think I'll send that book and see how it goes. But yeah, I think it'd be cool. Looks like bile yellow to me. You need to check your bile, my friend. Check your bile. Urine yellow. Like what does a non-urine yellow look like?
I don't know. I think urine can be multiple different colors of yellow. I think it all depends on what you eat
how
and
hydrated you are.
Exactly, how hydrated you are. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks perfectly fine to me. The regular labels look fine. I'll tell you, the only label I've seen that doesn't look fine is just like that yellow that CBCS had for like the longest time. It's just the flat colors. Like I do like that. The CGC labels do look more vibrant. It looks like the paper quality that it's printed on just holds the ink better. Maybe I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm excited to see some people get it back. One thing that I like that CBCS has done is their updated labels. I think they look fantastic. I'm definitely a fan of those, and I still haven't gotten any of their brand new ones yet. So,
yeah, one thing I'm still just waiting for is for CGC to finally do some DC custom labels.
Yeah. In the meantime, just make them yourself.
There you go.
Get a heat gun. Problem solved. All right. The search. Speaking of JSA, the search for our next JSA writer is afoot. Jeff Johns revealed at Fan Expo in Philly last weekend that after issue 12, he will no longer be writing JSA. Well, that's confirmed. Like we
Right.
confirmed that ourselves as readers long ago, but Jeff said it himself, and like that's really like written in stone now. So now it's just getting to issue 12 is a huge step, and then figuring out who's going to write it after that. Now, we had a theory. Since we've started with the Golden Age characters again in the past, like what are we on, like about 2 years maybe?
Yeah.
Since the Golden Age started?
Yep.
It's been a tough road. It goes back to Doomsday Clock. It really goes back to the creation of the New 52. When the creation of the New 52 happened, we did not have our OG heroes. We did not have our Golden Age Earth 2 heroes.
Right.
They didn't exist. They never existed. You fast forward years later, decade later, to Doomsday Clock, they explain why they didn't exist. The creation of the New 52 was something that Dr. Manhattan did, messing with universes, just experimenting with things, curious. And it all started by moving the Lantern away from Alan Scott at the train crash. No JSA ever happened, but they get brought back in issue 12, and you get like this huge optimistic promise, like finally the original JSA are coming back to comics, much like a lot of our other heroes did along the years.
Yeah, that was, if I recall, that was a Jeff Johns, Brian Hitch double-page spread that was in there.
Gary Frank, but it was beautiful.
So Gary Frank did the covers, did the 3 covers, but I thought it was
3 covers
he did the 3 separate covers for Doomsday. Oh, for Doomsday Clock, maybe I'm thinking of something
interiors.
else.
Yeah, he did the interiors for Doomsday Clock
Right.
as well. I know what you're thinking of, and we'll get there because that's next step along the way. So we didn't get him back immediately.
Right.
It didn't come back, but the next time we saw him was on a 2-page splash with slightly updated uniforms. Even we got like probably about 2 years later, we got a 1-shot called Stargirl Summer Special.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe that's what you're talking about.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah,
that's where she fought Degaton, and they like it was just like this whole thing, like this whole. It was concept introducing. It was showing the world like Stargirl's still here, Degaton's messing with time, and stuff's not right. And at the end of that, we get a 2-page splash, beautiful 2-page splash with updated costumes. And when I say updated, I don't mean unrecognizable. They were clearly the classic costumes, like Alan Scott. Instead of having his shirt tucked in, he had like this almost like a bomber jacket style thin shirt. Like his belt was still there, but it came under the belt. It looked amazing. It looked beautiful. And they're like, next summer or next fall or whenever it was, JSA is back. And like, I'm losing my mind. Like, JSA is back. It's going to be fantastic. And then they weren't back.
Right.
They got delayed again. And then finally, things change. We get Mikkel Janin, Jeff Johns, and who's doing the interiors? Is Mikkel doing the interiors too?
Mikkel Janin is doing the interiors for JSA,
Yeah, so they came back and brought us the new Golden Age. We got a 1-shot, an 80-page 1-shot that introduced us to this world. Degaton had returned, when he was trying to kill the Justice Society across all the universes.
And we also got the Stargirl miniseries as well.
Yeah, but really kicked it off, though, was a miniseries to usher this in was called Flashpoint Paradox. It was a sequel to the original Flashpoint, and it kind of just
Flashpoint Beyond.
Yes, Flashpoint Beyond. That's right. It kind of tied in loosely, not loosely, but it called back to Watchmen in ways. It called back to Doomsday Clock in ways. It called back to the Flashpoint stuff Jeff Johns had worked on, and it pointed us from there in the direction of the new Golden Age. And since we got back to JSA coming out semi-regularly, they've also done 3 miniseries. One is an Alan Scott solo, one is a Jay Garrett solo, and one is a Wesley Dodd Sandman solo, all by different creative teams. So you have Robert Venditti doing Sandman, you have Tim Sheridan doing Alan Scott Green Lantern, and you have Jeremy Adams doing Flash. So naturally, we're thinking these guys who are doing these titles worked with them on Flashpoint Beyond. So it's almost like they're already tied to these characters, to the Golden Age stuff. So I went on a mission. I went to casually comment on these people's social medias and just fish for answers. Jeremy Adams confirmed it. No one is as of right now, no one's approached him or nothing. He's not going to be writing it. I talked to Tim Sheridan for a good while on social media this week. It was fantastic. He was upset at my my thoughts of the Tomorrowverse, but we won't get into that. And he confirmed that he's not doing it. He would love to do it, but he's not doing it. Maybe he should just go create his own new golden age somewhere and hope that they can have some fun doing it. Like, we'll do it. We'll probably read it. It'll be fun. And then I went to Robert Venditti, the last man standing on our short list of who it could be. And I said I left a comment under a Superman 78 post, like, enjoyed this series so much, can't wait for Volume 3. By the way, are you picking up JSA after issue 12? And got no response. He just liked the post. So I don't know if you read it. I don't know if you plan on addressing it. If it's something like, oh, I can't confirm that until it's been confirmed. So I don't know. So 2 of 3 are definitely checked off. Not him.
Yeah, well, he had a chance to deny it and he didn't. So that's something.
That's something. I can't imagine who else I would want on it. I don't want them to mail in the JSA.
Right.
God, that'd be terrible. Ugh. It's tough being a JSA fan.
It really is. And Venditti has shown. I mean, when you talk about his Superman 78 and then his Wesley Dodds, he does very well at writing period pieces. So, it would be
He's amazing.
It would be cool if he did that. And he, I mean, I don't know how many you remember, but he did his level best to try to sort out the entire Hawkman history not too long ago too, with Brian Hitch. Him and Brian Hitch did that miniseries.
Yeah, that's a huge undertaking as well.
Right.
Huge undertaking. What is going on, Steve White? How are you doing tonight? Hello to you. Hello to Kenny B. Vlogs, what's happening, buddy? Joseph Michaels. Aggressively relaxing. Johnny Boy, how are you? But yeah, so we'll see where it goes. I'll definitely be watching for clues, watching for answers, and
it's still months away before we get any type of announcement because we're still only on issue 10 of Jeff Johns' run.
Yeah, and they're taking like 2 and 3 months apiece.
I was saying they're taking a good 3 months between each issue.
Yeah, when Ghost Machine said we're going exclusive after contracts, and like I think there's like we're going exclusive now.
Yeah,
we're never getting issue 2 of the Lex Luthor. We're never getting it.
Exactly
ever.
Somewhere on a podcast somewhere, Brian Hitch will say, "Well, this is what we had planned for the rest of."
We should have asked. Well, to be fair,
yeah,
I did.
Yeah.
Before we went live, I mentioned it. I got like
crickets.
NDA face, crickets, just straight crickets.
Yeah.
Nothing. Like he's not entertaining that talk. Oh my gosh. So another big news, we got the Fantastic Four movie coming up. We've had the 4 of them have been announced for a while in the casting, but there's other characters involved in it. John Malkovich was confirmed to have a role in this film. They did not disclose who he will be playing, but for me, I just assumed that maybe he's going to be the voice of Herbie the Robot, and that would be fantastic. But otherwise, I've heard some people say maybe he's the puppet master, or who knows. You got any guesses on who you think he might be?
I don't know. Is Herbie? I mean, if it's going to be John Malkovich as Herbie, then they seem like they're going to play him off as maybe this sarcastic type. And I'm not really sure that that would really work.
Yeah, well, it's the MCU, so you got to assume whatever they're doing is intended to not work. This is current MCU. We're a ways away from that. They're like, you know what? We stopped focusing on quality a long time ago, and we've been pushing for quantity. We're going to fix it. We're a long ways away from the era of getting the results of them fixing it. We're still dealing with the current here and now, but I don't know. I think he would be good in it. I like John Malkovich. He can do anything. Fantastic actor.
He's a lot like who's the guy I'm trying to think of? Christopher Walken. He's kind of almost like a parody. He's almost like a parody of himself when he does stuff, I
like the idea of Puppet Master. Ben Grimm Love Life is one of the best things in Marvel. Well, his love life was on the rocks. But all right, let's see what's next. Oh yeah, the big one. Ralph. How do you say his last name?
Innocent.
Heinsohn? Innocent. Ralph Innocent from The Witcher, from, you said, Game of Thrones, right?
Yep.
He's been in a bunch of stuff, not necessarily like blockbusters or anything. He was most recently in that sci-fi movie The Creator, but he got cast confirmed to play Galactus. So there's a terrible AI rendering of him as Galactus.
I don't think he'll look like that.
I don't know why I love this picture so much. I think it's because, like, it got like the Eternals design. So yeah. I just can't help but look at that.
Yeah, well, in the face that you chose basically says, "I'd rather be playing anybody else."
I'm like, oh, I'm hungry.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I'm so hungry.
Come here, Mars. I'm hungry.
I don't really know him from Adam the actor, which is a good thing for me. I like that it's an unknown for me. I did see a clip of him in an interview on stage, and his voice was phenomenal, like super deep, semi raspy, very British. And I assumed that Galactus is British.
Right.
Why wouldn't it be?
Right.
But it just hit like, oh man, I just pictured him like speaking like as the devourer of worlds. He just has that voice. Like that's dope. Yeah, I think it'll be pretty cool. Let's see, what do we have next on this list? The Superman suit.
Yes.
The fandom is divided. This one's rough, man. This one's a roller coaster of emotions right here. There it is, the actual photo that James Gunn shared to his social medias. Just like he just put the caption. What do you put? Get ready.
Yep.
Yeah, the caption "Get ready" attached with this photo. I'm sure everyone's seen this photo 1,000 times by now. Like it went out the day after our last show last week, so couldn't be farther away from it. But there are some cool things I pointed out, like the background. Everyone has their ideas on the suit. We'll touch on that in a second, but I want to talk about the background for a second because it's hard to even make out what that is. Is that an orb shooting an energy beam? Is that an orb getting shot by an energy beam? Am I the only one that noticed the small green light coming from the clouds down to the top of this orb?
Well, what I've read is the prevailing theory is that it's Solaris.
That's what Pops thought it was Solaris.
From DC 1 Million.
The Sun Eater.
Yeah.
So what then we can assume that that's Solaris shooting a beam and getting shot by Guy Gardner.
There you go.
But I thought that was pretty cool to see that Guy Gardner thing. But to the suit, to the point of the suit.
Yes. Well, there you go.
Boom. Look, these are all the elements that you can find in this one shot of the suit, which I think is pretty cool. That you get all these different little, I don't know, like different eras. What would you call it?
Yeah, it's kind of like an amalgam of lots of different things.
Yeah, so you definitely got the New 52 shape of the S. I don't know what it says. Alex Ross lines. I don't know what that even means on that one. But the classic trunks, I'm super happy to see. I like that it has a yellow outline around it. This will be the first time I was getting a collar on Superman, so that's cool. It's Superman, like it's definitely recognizably Superman. So one thing that I thought was super cool. This dude is like half a head taller than the second tallest Superman actor next to him.
Yeah.
Like he's 6'6". Like that's his base height. Like not kind of like boot adding anything or anything. Dude's gonna be big. Superman's supposed to be big though. Like he's supposed to be tall, and never really dawned on me like how tall or short he is. They can always use movie magic to keep like Lois is shorter than him or this or that.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. Solaris is also an all-star Superman. So possibly, remember he was sitting there with the cosmic anvil creating small little galaxies that feeded until pulling it out at the end and all that.
And also David Cornthwaite, his trainer, posted some photos of him as well this week. who basically, I mean, he looks jacked in the photos, but he said that basically he went from like 200 to 240. But
Pure
then
muscle.
he's not necessarily he, although he looks huge in the photos, he's toned a lot of it. So it's actually, so he doesn't look as jacked necessarily anymore. He looks
Yeah,
more
Superman
toned.
doesn't need to look jacked, but he definitely needs. I like the idea of him being big.
Right.
Definitely like the idea of him being big. Paul, real
Right.
quick, while we have 18 people watching, I'm gonna let you tell people what we got going on the DC deep dive tomorrow, as well as the next guest on Guess That Key. I'm gonna go help Kyle with these kids.
Okay.
Forgive me for help.
All right. Tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock on my channel, Sector 2815. If you're not subscribed, you can go subscribe now while Mark's out of the room. I'll wait. But tomorrow we're going to be taking a look at Batman number 147. It is Dark Prisons number 3. We're currently looking at House of Brainiac, but there was no House of Brainiac story from last week, so we decided to go with Batman Dark Prisons number 3 in Batman number 147 because there is a lot of stuff that happens in there that will directly impact Absolute Power, and that's really the next big DC event that's coming up. It starts in July. I think it's like mid-July. And so there's lots of things that are happening between Failsafe and Amanda Waller, and also Failsafe and Damien and Bruce and the rest of his family. All of these things kind of come together. We finally have the face-off between Amanda Waller and Failsafe in Batman number 147. We'll talk about that. Again, it's tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock on my channel. It is Sector 2815. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notifications, leave a comment, all that good stuff. And then on Guess That Key, this is an off week on Guess That Key. We do it every other week. But a week from Wednesday, we will have, besides Mark, who's on every episode, we will also have Actual Dracula, and we will have Beckerman. So come on out. We have a lot of fun. We play. Basically, it is a game of 20 questions, where everyone asks yes or no questions about a key that everyone has brought. And we take questions from the chat as well. We also give away some great books to people. We do that again every other Wednesday night. So hopefully you'll have a chance to come out and do that as well. And now back to your regularly scheduled at week's end.
The blast. She stepped on a dinosaur.
Huh.
Y'all thought the kids were giving her the business, being hard to get along. Nope. She just stepped on a dinosaur and was very, very mad about the dinosaurs not being put up in the dinosaur box.
Ooh.
Some of these toys, man, when you step on them, it just sets you off.
Mm-hmm.
It's rough out here with kids' toys these days. Next up on the list, now this one this is another one that I'm hot and cold about. Well, to the Superman suit, I was excited just right off base from seeing it, and then I saw some of these mock-ups. There's so many mock-ups that people are doing fan edits or whatever, photoshopping him, and there's one that's just classic Superman, same actor, same pose, just classic suit though, and it looks so good.
Yeah, I saw some people who were actually more concerned or more complaining about the fact that he was sitting, putting his boots on for the first image that we got of him.
Yeah, I saw a lot of that too, and I have a hard time processing, understanding the train of thought to that. Like,
Yeah.
he's just sitting there, and so like, bro, it's a still photo meant just to show off the suit and danger and him going back out to it.
Right.
Like he's moving at super speed. They just caught him in that moment. Like, good God. I don't know. Some people. I think that it's gonna it's hard to project how people might show up and show out for this, and if they will, there's such a split in the fandom with the people that are just yeah, well, let's give James Gunn a chance, and then you have the people who are like, Gunn ruined this before he even started it. There's people out there that think that James Gunn made The Flash, made Black Adam, and all this.
Right.
That I don't know. That's the whole thing I mentioned from time to time, with the general audience. We are not the general audience.
Right.
We're gonna watch it all, good, bad, and ugly. But the general audience is the people you really have to worry about when you're making decisions. And maybe that's why they're so vocal with these Superman announcements and every little thing along the way, because they want to really solidify and hope that everybody catches wind between now and it coming out that this is the first major installment in the DCU. But speaking of the DCU, Frank Grillo, actor who played Crossbones in the Marvel stuff, he is cast to play Rick Flag Sr. in the animated Creature Commando movie, which is technically, or not movie, animated series, which is technically the first thing that we'll be getting out of the DCU proper from James Gunn will be an animated Creature Commando show on HBO Max. James Gunn said back in his initial announcement that when he casts people for anything, he wants to keep in mind any potential animated or live action. He wants to keep the actors the same. So they got Frank Grillo, who's actually a very disheartened actor who had a terrible experience with Disney Marvel. And it really, from what I understand from all the stuff over the years, like he was told one thing, what it looked like his career path working with him would be, and shifting tides, they ended up just offing his character, which cost some other opportunities and gigs that he said, I can't do that because I'm going to be doing this kind of thing. So he didn't enjoy his time over there, but he seems very excited about his time in the future here with James Gunn at Warner Brothers. Him and James posted a photo yesterday, maybe, or the day before, side by side, saying confirmed Frank Grillo will be in the live action season 2 of Peacemaker. And Frank posted, like, I have some unfinished business I need to handle with Peacemaker. And those who don't remember, Peacemaker killed Rick Flag, his kid, basically. I don't know if that's how they're going to play it or what. But he killed Rick Flag in the second Suicide Squad movie film. So getting Rick Flag Sr. in there, that's all I can think about. Like maybe my wife can get to see some justice on the screen because she won't even watch the Peacemaker show. Because me and her were like jaws on the floor that they killed Rick Flag. Couldn't believe it. Like that dude's not expendable. Like Rick Flag is not an expendable character. You got to bring him back. You have to do something. So I was excited to see if we at least get Rick Flag Sr. being introduced in the DCU, and I like the fact that maybe he's going to address that.
Yeah. Hey, Craig Jr., something I was going to bring up too was we didn't talk about this before, but there was a picture that was posted on James Gunn's of a lot of DC creators that showed that were given a tour of the Superman set. And one that was the thing that stood out to me, the person that was there was Scott Snyder, because he is supposedly running the Absolute Comics initiative that's coming later on this year. But there were people like Snyder was there, Jim Lee was there. I got
the whole list right here. It had Frank Quitely, Jim Lee, Angelo, can't even pronounce the last name, Kevin McGuire, Kerry Williams, Scott Snyder, Josh Williamson, John Ostrander, and Pies, Jerry Ordway, Christina Merkel, Cameron Merkel, Dan Jurgens, and Jason Aaron. Like powerhouse.
Exactly. And if you're to believe Absolute Comics is kind of nearest thing that I can compare it to is like the All-Star Comics, where they basically are trying to get like A-list creators to do the stories and the art. A lot of the names that you just read would probably be on that list that's currently working for DC. So, and Tom Taylor also mentioned something in one of the things that he did as well about that. So, and if you take a look at, you have Tom Taylor is leaving Nightwing. You have Ron V is supposedly doing something as well. He's leaving Detective. So, there's a lot of things that may be lining up for them to get some.
Can you imagine if we get John Ostrander back for something? That'd be dope.
Like a Suicide Squad.
Dope. Let's go. Or the Spectre. Either way. Yeah. Either way. Yeah. That'd be amazing. But yeah, like Andre just said, this movie has to land. If it doesn't stick the landing, if they don't keep the budget in check where they have to be able to pull off like a $700 million success. Like if this movie only does 6-7, like hopeful 800 million at the box office, that has to be a home run for it. So I hope they keep it in check, because I've said it 1,000 times already. It isn't going to be the next DCU movie that gets people excited about DC again. It's going to take a couple of good movies back to back and word of mouth to get around to get people like, all right, well, I'm going to go see the next one. Like I caught it on streaming, or I bought the Blu-ray, liked it after I heard some good buzz about it. It's going to take a couple of those to get people to want to go like take time and make plans to go catch something on the big screen. But I hope they do good with it, man. I really do. I'm nervous, but I hope they do good with it. Also, massively nervous about the news that we got out of the MonsterVerse this week. They announced that a Godzilla Kong sequel is officially moving forward. The movie has made like $600 million, which, believe it or not, that is a massive win for that movie with its budget and their projections and what. They don't make those Godzilla movies looking for billion-dollar films like you do with like Marvel was doing and stuff like that. Has performed exceedingly well. And they went and they scouted writer Dave Callahan to come in and start working on writing the next one. Now, I put an asterisk on this. So first off, his writing credentials include, and this is where it gets a little heartbreaking, Shang-Chi, Zombieland 2, The Expendables, Wonder Woman 84, amongst other things. Now, he did help work on the Spider-Verse stuff, which is like, I don't know, it was okay for me, but I know it's a big hit. But he did also work on Godzilla 2014. And Adam Wingard is still set to direct as of now. So it looks like it's really his creative baby. Because I think, I'm pretty sure how it goes. Like he comes up with I want this movie, I want this to happen, these characters in it. And then they have to kind of put it together as a screenplay. So hopefully this guy is not the brainstorming arm. He's just the tightening up a script arm.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times they do. They'll bring in someone to write the final draft or whatever. So,
MonsterVerse is a case study of how this became the franchise that it is. MonsterVerse is fantastic. I don't know. I think it was a layup. All they had to do was spend the money to do it. You don't Godzilla doesn't miss. It just this built-in fan base been around 70 years now. Celebrating 70 years this week, Paul.
mm-hmm. It doesn't look a day over 69.
Doesn't look a day over 69. I think Gunna's going to make a Superman we've never seen before. It will be unique, and that's a win. Ugh. Yes and no. Yes and no. It needs to be a Superman that's absolutely recognizable, shown to us from a perspective we haven't seen. That's what missed with the Snyder stuff. It was a Superman people had never seen before, and I want to tell you something: people don't want to see a Superman they've never seen before. They want to see Superman. They bought the ticket to see Superman.
I ended up watching the documentary. It's a bird, it's a plane. The one that was. I
haven't watched it yet.
Done as part. No, it was one that was done as part of Batman Beyond. So the Superman Forever, whatever was the one with Brandon Routh.
That's when you get the ultimate box set that had the 4 original and the Brandon Routh film, it had Up and Away and it included.
Yeah, I saw that and I watched it today, and my first thought was the people that are in this has not aged well.
Oh, you're talking about Bryan Singer?
Bryan Singer, Kevin Spacey does the narration.
Yeah, it was it's
some of the interviews are done with the people that we will never mention on the show again. He was considered a comic historian, one of the writers. It's boy, this really has not aged well.
Yeah, they pretty much get us all the sexual predators for this movie. I guess that answer, if you're ever wondering if sexual predators could get together and be creative, we know the answer is no now.
Right.
We officially know the answer is no. I'm calling it Iron Man Kong versus Destroya. So I'm banking on Destroya as far as Mecha Kong or Iron Man Kong. We got the Beast Glove in the last one. I don't know what they'll do to keep him up to speed with everybody. But we had Mecha Kong and the Toho stuff, so who knows? But Destroya, I think, is the natural way to go, because Adam Wingard was saying that for the next one, he wants to tap a major Toho villain. And really, who do you have? To one up what we've done, you have Space Godzilla that's too on the nose. Give me Godzilla, but make him space. But Destroya is really it, and that really can take us to the ultimate finale of this legendary Godzilla. We can do our version in Legendary of Meltdown. You know what I mean? Do the whole Burning Godzilla, and we've watched him level up through all these movies, all the way to New Empire, where he has to get a completely new power source, 20 times more energy, but none of the radiation. But we'll man, I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see. My kids love it. I love it. It's like one of those things. It's just fun, man. It's just so fun. Godzilla is the world's only octogenarian.
Octogenarian.
Screw you, pops. The Snyderverse was a huge hit. I still want Aquaman 3, Batfleck movie, etc. Dude, I love you. I love you. Aggressively relaxing. I'm a diehard Snyder fan, and it wasn't a huge hit. I wish it was. People believed in it. People were excited for it. People went out, and those first few films made a ton of money, but every movie just did like this. After that, they lost the trust of the general audience. It was really that simple. See, I'm one of those people. I still watch the first Suicide Squad movie. Love it. I just like the Suicide Squad. Biollante would be dope. That looked horrific with modern stuff. Unplugged for the day, but much heart pimps and legends. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Appreciate you popping by, Jersey boy. We miss you. We miss you. But yeah, man, Monsterverse, sky's the limit. Sky's the limit. Season 2 of Monarch was confirmed a couple weeks back. I don't even know if we touched on that, but that show was fantastic. I know it got great ratings from critics and the audience. There's some people out there that don't care for there's too much people. Well, this is the TV show. That's why there's a lot of people stuff. What we're getting is a lot of context to the universe. And man, I love the threads that they tied together with like early Apex and Martin's Company. And it was dope. It was dope. I want to see live action Mongol and Superman. Yeah, I wanted to see Mongol or Lobo or Brainiac. Something, my whole thing. I wanted to see Lobo. Like so simple. Like just like they did with the Man of Tomorrow animated series. Lobo, this alien just comes to work, forcing the other alien that's been hiding there to reveal himself to help save it. And fisticuffs, man. Lobo can just straight throw hands with Superman.
Yeah, and they did a pretty comic accurate Lobo in the Krypton show.
Yeah, he had a little Jack Sparrow vibe to him, but
yeah,
he did good. That show was fantastic. The way they did Doomsday, the way they did Brainiac, dude, was straight out of the Gary Frank mini. Mm-hmm. It was wicked. I love Batman v Superman, but that movie was a mistake. That soon Dead on Arrival universe. I think it has its. First off, I love the movie. The actual ultimate cut is fantastic. But I agree. I think Snyder he was assumed everybody that watches these things can keep up like where he was at. He wasn't starting at the ground floor and going one floor at a time with what he was doing. He was starting with the assumption that a lot of people are already like waist deep into these characters, into this universe. But yeah. See, Monarch was excellent. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Mongol would be awesome and bring Warworld with him. Yeah, and the Black Mercy. That'd be cool. Got a $2.99 super chat from my main man with pots and pans, Mad Spidey from over there in Australia. For $2.99 dollary dues, dropping a quick hello, legends, and dollary dues. I appreciate it, brother.
Thanks.
Too Tasty said, Man of Tomorrow was excellent. Love the Parasite inclusion. Too bad the Tomorrowverse as a whole was lackluster. JSA World War II was great, though. You literally can go to my page on Instagram and see where I didn't mean to, but I posted about the release date for Crisis Part 3. And I'm like, July, blah, 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 Crisis Part 3 will drop and we'll be past this Tomorrowverse era and hopefully back to business. And Tim Sheridan, comic book writer and writer of a lot of those movies, like, oh, bro, I thought we were friends, and put a sad face on that. I'm like, oh, no. So he wrote The Long Halloween, which is arguably probably the best one, A Long Halloween Part 1. I don't know if he did Man of Tomorrow, Superman Man of Tomorrow, and one other one. I can't remember which one it was. But I thought that was pretty cool to find out that Tim wrote those early ones.
And Jeremy Adams co-wrote the JSA one.
The JSA, yeah. If you tell me Snyder's directing a movie with Blue Beetle, Shazam, Black Adam, and the rest, I would be hired. I would too, but a lot of people wouldn't. His name's tarnished. But not with me. I'm talking in a more general sense. Not with me. See, next on this hit list, Batman. Caped Crusader. This one's been a long time coming. Yo, yeah. Is this a Fandom announcement when we did the Fandom stream initially?
I don't know. Maybe.
I honestly think that this was announced at one of the
It's
DC
been a
fandom.
while because it disappeared for a while when because it was supposed to be HBO Max when it was back when it was HBO Max, and then they kind of disappeared for a while when Gunn said they weren't going to do it anymore, and then it took a while for Amazon to pick it up. So it could have been announced that far back.
Yeah, it was a long, long way back. So, Batman the Caped Crusader. Who's doing this again? Is Paul Dini doing this?
No, bro, Bruce Timm.
Bruce Timm. Bruce Timm, Batman the Animated Series co-creator, coming to do this.
Mhm.
It's a completely new animated series, not tied to anything else, standing on its own. Will release on Amazon. He said that he wants to visit these characters and not do them the same that he's done them before. What does that mean? What does that look like? Let's take a look. So that's what our Batman is going to look like. We got our first images from this show, which I think he looks awesome. You got the tall, wide ears, more
Mhm.
classic looking symbol. No purple gloves, but he's got it looks like classic Batman just without the purple.
Right.
Some of the other characters that it showed us, that's what our Harley Quinn will look like, more like look like a straight jester. And he said that he wanted to kind of invert the character where when she's just her regular self on the in the chair doing the little conversations with people as a doctor, that she's gonna be a little wacky, a little quirky, but when she's in costume, she's deadly serious. So I think that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. We got our Commissioner Gordon look, and that's Clayface looking like the Shadow, but who done it?
Mhm.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be set in the 40s. So he said, there really won't be you won't see a lot of these futuristic gadgets or things like this. It's going to be much more grounded in realism and things like that. So,
Which I'm
um,
very excited about that
yeah,
aspect of it.
me too.
And then we got our look at our Catwoman, which is like her OG outfit as well from back in the 40s. Bruce and Selena. I think that was about it. So I thought that was pretty cool. I'm excited for this. I hate that it's on Amazon. I don't do Amazon mobile, but I'm definitely going to check it out. Isn't Matt Reeves attached to that? I don't know.
Yes, I believe he is. Yep.
So is he like producing or something?
Yeah, he's Bruce Timm is really kind of running the whole thing, but Matt Reeves is attached to that as well as a producer.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I'm excited for Matt Reeves stuff. Maybe yeah. DC is so like all over the place. We're doing Elseworlds. I wonder if that'll be our first Elseworld that we see when they actually tag it. What is going on to the comic bit? We got a 31 month member milestone chat. Best 31 months ever.
Nice.
Appreciate that to the homie from the Great White North. Chris is living on the hat of America up there in Canada.
Yep.
And unfortunately for last, we actually have a huge death that took place.
Mhm.
We lost an actual legend in the movie business, Roger Corman, known from a lot of comic book people as the guy that brought us the first live action Fantastic Four. He did amazing things, like he found James Cameron. James Cameron's first movie was Piranha 2: The Spawning, and he's directed and produced countless movies. When I say countless, that is an understatement. Like he's the king of the B movies, and he was referred to as like the Hollywood rebel because he was an absolute wild man. Like he didn't miss deadlines. He did fun things like breaking into sets and stealing people's props
Mhm.
and working with them overnight and going and putting them back. He's an absolute legend. Uh, my love for film, my love for movies and stuff went straight into his stuff long time ago. As a kid, it was the monster stuff, not necessarily monster stuff, but like the animals attack. I remember sitting at my grandma's house as a kid and Piranha 1 playing on TV and watching it with my poppy. Like back, and he died when I was 12. So this was forever ago. I just remember them on the raft going down the river and stuff, and it was just good times. But his absolute like edgy sci-fi stuff. The dude no bounds. He would wanted to push the barrier of everything he was doing. He dove into sword and sorcery stuff. He created the Death Ray stuff, that Jason Statham did the franchise on. The first one was Roger Corman's with David Carradine and Sylvester Stallone. Even he's a madman.
Yeah, he did in the 1950s. He did Little Shop of Horrors in black and white. It was one of the first movies that Jack Nicholson was in. Um,
The Terror
yeah,
with Jack Nicholson.
yep. He basically said, that he would film movies in like 4 days for under $100,000.
A lot. He would do it a
Yeah,
lot too.
exactly.
It's crazy to see him go. But he was 98 years old. Talk about living life to the fullest. He absolutely did. No one
Yep.
else will ever make a movie in 3 weeks for 20K while on vacation.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. True legend, true legend. And he's even still producing movies all the way up into the end. You can find all kinds like those movies you would find on like the Sci-Fi Channel now, like this animal versus that animal, or Shark to Puss and fun stuff like that. Like they were under his production. Yeah, super sad to see him go. It was a bummer, but seems like he had a good life. Seems like he had a good life. I definitely suggest anybody, if you got time, just look it up. And there's a documentary about his life called Corman's World. It came out in like probably like 2012, and it's fantastic. And there's also the live action Fantastic Four film from 1990, what, four or something like that.
Yeah.
There's a documentary on that film, which you would probably enjoy watching the documentary more than the movie because of why that movie was even made and what they managed to do to get it to keep the rights and everything. It was super interesting, fantastic individual. But that gets us to the point of the show about a movie that just came out this week. Made the thumbnail.
Hmm.
You got this guy up here, hashtag not Caesar. But Noah, our brand new character in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. It's a brand new era. We did the Caesar trilogy with what was it? Rise, Dawn, and War of the
Yep.
Planet of the Apes,
Hmm.
where we saw Caesar's full birth to death story. And now we're going generations after Caesar's life and looking at and diving into the Planet of the Apes and where it is now and starting anew. And we're starting anew. It's still 20th Century Fox, but it's now technically owned by Disney. So this is the Disney era Planet of the Apes. We have seen with other 20th Century Fox stuff that is held up. They did Predator under Disney. It was fantastic, that Prey movie. Avatar 2 was not affected by the fact that Disney had bought 20th Century Fox, even though they tried to steal some of his money. They didn't want to give it all up, but he got it. Yeah, I guess you don't play with everybody's money, but brand new Planet of the Apes. What did you think of it, Paul?
Overall, I liked it. I actually think that I thought that this was actually probably more connected to the original films than it was the the Caesar trilogy. Just because there were certain things that occurred or that were referenced in this movie that I think have direct correlations, like the fact that Nova, everyone's called Nova, all the females are called Nova. That's definitely a
Yo, I,
shout out.
I told Dad about that. I told my dad about that as soon as I watched the movie. I'm like, dude, it was hilarious. Because in the Tim Burton one, it was Nova.
Right,
In the original one, it was Nova. In War for the Planet of the Apes, the little girl was Nova. Like,
right.
that was hilarious when Rock is like, we'll call her Nova.
We call
They're all
everybody
called
Nova.
Nova. I don't know why.
There
That
was
was a
this.
great little Easter egg.
Yeah, there was a quick scene with a doll, which if you remember in the original movies, as part of the excavation that they're doing, they find this doll. The apes find this human doll. So that was kind of a call out to the original movies as well. The whole thing with the vault, I mean, kind of goes with the second movie, Beneath the Planet of the Apes, where
When they find the humans underground.
exactly, and you have the whole silo, nuclear
And they're
silo,
all
but
telepathic at that time and
yeah.
everything. And
I mean, I did enjoy the movie. It wasn't as action packed as probably some of the other ones have been, but and it does kind of, it uses a lot of the tropes from these types of movies. Okay, you know what? You have the star, his village is attacked and all taken prisoner. He has to go and rescue them. He gets captured. He manages to rescue them from within. I thought it was kind of interesting that um, the symbolism of having the character called Noah, since he basically saves them from the flood. Um, and then also in the biblical thing, there's the thing with the dove and the olive branch. That's basically as opposed to
The
this is
eagle.
the eagles. So there definitely is a lot of biblical imagery that goes on here. But I enjoyed it. I it didn't seem like it was 2 hours and 20 minutes to me. It seemed to go by pretty quick. Um, and I thought the guy who played Owen Teague, I think his name is, the guy who played Noah, I thought did really well. Kevin Durand, who
Oh
plays
God, good.
Proximus Caesar, he was,
Misery was
yeah,
fantastic.
he was absolutely fantastic
I
too.
love that
So,
the villain in this, our bad guy, he was not motivated by anything but knowledge. I thought that was fascinating
mhm,
that he wanted in this vault because he's aware of a time that humans could fly in the air like your eagles, or humans could travel across or talk across the length of the world. And if I just know what's in that vault will give me this quick evolution to be able to learn these things, or just I
mhm.
thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, and we've set up some things for the next movie. There's what is it? Fort Wayne, Indiana, is identified at the end there, right when she gives them the last piece of that computer that they need. So, so we've set up things going forward as well. So, which is always good.
Yeah, it definitely had some of those classic tropes like, oh, our village was invaded, we have to go rescue our
Right.
people, kind of thing. Where I think the movie's strengths was in its quiet moments. First off, visually, it was beautiful. It was absolutely stunning. The special effects were top notch in this, as this whole franchise has been from the beginning. But I, it's kind of like a hit or miss thing at the same time. It's this weird adjustment era, like not having Caesar. That we're in a completely new era, generations removed from Caesar now. So we're having to get introduced to and get used to and figure out what characters we like and who we like, see what they do to see if we get emotionally invested in them and stuff. So it had that detached feeling for me for a good while of it, but it landed really good. I was telling I was telling my dad that out of the four in the modern franchise, this was my least favorite. But that's like trying to figure out what exact number in the 90s to rate the movie, kind of thing. They're all A's. These are all good movies, and with like some of them can just shift and change. I think Rise is always going to be like my top one out of the new stuff because it was an experience seeing that, like the first time Caesar spoke, and having seen all the original five and knowing like they actually fulfilled the exact description of the first time Caesar spoke,
Right.
like back in the day, they fulfilled that in Rise.
Right.
But there was some cool stuff, and I do like the fact that we're the original five. It's like the time loop kind of thing.
Right.
Like it starts in the future, and they find out they're in the future. Then at the end of Beneath the Planet of the Apes, they blow the bomb up that's down
Right.
in the silo, and it blows the world up. But you think they all die. Like that was the whole thing. Every single one of them had a crazy twist ending. And so in the opening of number three, you find out that a couple of them got off, and that explosion threw them through a time loop, and they go back in time where now they're the only smart apes, and then you get
Right.
to watch the evolution go to them all being subjugated as servants after the dogs and everything died, to them rising to power, and then the whole battle for Planet of the Apes at the big ending. But with this, we started like at ground zero with the virus, and we're watching the evolution. So it's kind of just weird experiencing what probably or potentially could be an inevitable cycle, just watching it linear this time.
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah, I
know.
mean, they also mentioned the lawgiver, which is something that's from the original as
Hmm.
well. So that was kind of good. I liked all the movies, except I didn't really like the very first one. I didn't like the one with Mark Wahlberg, and it's probably just because the ending to me was just, I just, yeah,
I,
exactly. I
I love that movie. Tim Roth was amazing in that. Michael Clark
I
Duncan.
liked all of it until I got to the end, and the
The
end was
ending
like,
was weird when the
okay,
cops pulled up.
yeah, and it's like, okay, you know what? It's the Lincoln Monument instead of the Statue of
Washington.
Liberty, and it's like,
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
like
wild.
it was trying to outsmart itself. I felt, kind of. But everything else up until that point, I really liked. But that was definitely my favorite. Um, Definitely my least favorite of the four
What's going on, Matt?
or five
Love
now, I
you too,
guess.
my dude.
Yeah.
Rise's script is so well written. The way they connect everything to Caesar's personal story, yes, absolutely. And that's another one. That's what I love about I heard a couple people say some of the movies are too slow. They're not action movies. None of them are action movies. They're thrilling at times, suspenseful in moments. They have some action scenes here and there, but these are drama movies, like through and through. But I remember like with Rise, like because just the way like you mentioned, Andre, it's written and everything. Like when John Lithgow's character was having an episode, and the neighbor was pushing him around, and Caesar comes busting out of the house and stuff, and he's just jumping from tree to tree that are the trees that are lining the sidewalk, and you can't barely see him, but the leaves are shaking behind the guy running and stuff, and he was poking John Lithgow in the chest, so Caesar's goal was just to tackle him and bite that finger. I'm like, dude, it's just so well good. I'm here to end the week. Is this the appropriate place to do sort of a thing? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But yeah, I think that they've all been good. I like the fact how, like, especially with the trilogy, how they showcase a different real big actor. You had like Franco, you had Jason Douglas or something like that, who was he was in a lot of stuff in that time period, like Terminator Genesis. He was in Lawless, but he was the main guy in Dawn. And then of course you had Woody in War. But at this point we're almost felt like we're almost past Humans.
Right.
We had Old Girl there, and that was pretty much it. You see like a herd of humans that have lost all ability to speak and everything. And seems like there's still a few that are not affected, the immune to the virus out there.
Mm-hmm.
William H. Macy had an appearance.
Yeah. I like we saw those those almost scarecrows. We saw those in the film as well. Again, call out to the originals.
It was just solid. It was good. I highly recommend checking it out. If I would say go see it on the big screen. It's a beautiful film.
It made $58.5 million this weekend.
It'll probably be the lowest grossing movie out of the modern franchise, just because the box office is just down in general. There's definitely some exceptions to it, but as a whole, people just ain't going to the movies like they used to. It's unfortunate. I think that we're going to eventually lose them. I think we'll still have some in some capacity, but as far as like the Regals and the Cinemarks and the AMCs and stuff, something is going to change drastically with those, finding these giant mega screens with 20 different rooms and these IMAXs. They can't.
Yeah, the movie theater that I saw this movie in, normally, at least on the weekend anyway, but I think during the week, they would normally start showing their movies at like 11 o'clock, like in the morning. They'd have like an 11 and then a 1 or something. Now they don't start until 2 o'clock.
Yeah, it's going to be rough because they're just going to jack up prices until they can't keep doors open.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be unfortunate. But yeah, I give it a green. This movie was solid. There hasn't been a bad one. There hasn't been one in the franchise, like from all the way back to the original, that I haven't enjoyed. It's just it's a fun franchise. It's good stuff. Well, let's hit on some of these books, Paul. It was a small week for comics.
Very small.
It's also AAPI Heritage Month, so we did get some cool covers celebrating the Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, one of which was a John Jane cover featuring Clown Hunter and Ghost Maker, which picked up a couple of those. Was happy to see that. That was done for Batman number 147. There's your A cover. If you've been enjoying Batman, this one's gonna be no exception. It hits on all cylinders. It's pretty fast paced right now. They're not only building up to what feels like a conclusion to this story arc, but we know it's going to bleed into Absolute Power, the mega summer event. So if you're planning on checking that out, you might want to check out what's happening in Batman. And if you don't want to go pick it up, check out Sector 2815's channel. Tomorrow we'll be deep diving on this specific book. We've already filmed it. It's just ready to release. So you're going to want to keep up with what's going on. The more context you have for Absolute Power, the more you will enjoy it. What is this? This is this week? I think this is this week. Man, I don't have a lot at all. I did get Kneel Before Zod issue number. What is this? Issue number 5. This one gets pretty nuts. Did you read this?
I have not. It's coming in my shipment.
So this series solicited at the beginning as being like DC's most brutal series of the year, and up until this issue, I didn't know if they were going to live up to that promise. And then I'm like, yeah, I think they might be. It's introducing us to the Legion of Zod, and what that is basically Zod. After that last issue with him getting this entire ship he was on blown up, getting revenge for the death of his wife, he's picked up out of space, rescued, saved, and he wakes up burnt, charred, and disgusting looking. He starts killing everyone again on the ship. Finds out he's on a prison transport, releases all the prisoners just to kill some of them to the point of saying, like, I'm your leader now, you're my legion. And just kind of forcing, saying he just went and got his own army. So it was pretty dope. It was pretty solid. I'm hoping that this 12-issue maxi series, where it leads is to the end of Absolute Power and into what's next for the main Superman titles post Absolute Power. I think it'll line up like that. Like we got House of Brainiac happening that'll take us into Absolute Power. Then after that, maybe we're going to be getting a reason for Superman to have to go address a Zod dilemma, which if he brings it to Earth, it's they need to take it off planet. We're doing too much on Earth right now. I think it'd be better if it was off planet. What's one you picked up this week? I've got that one too, my friend. There's the A cover for Geiger, issue number 2 from Ghost Machine Goodness. And the one Paul has, the B cover from Yvonne Reese. Super solid read. What'd you think?
Yeah, I am all in on this Ghost Machine stuff. And it's he's still traveling, trying to find if there's someone like him. He's still basically threatening anybody who thinks that they may have any information that there's someone like him. We still identify that he's being followed by someone, but we don't know who yet. So all of those things continue to happen in this issue, and he manages to stop someone. He basically accepts kind of like an assignment or a contract, for lack of a better term, against this one person who is stealing some stuff. But when he finally does corner the guy, he finds out that the guy is doing it for a good reason. Excuse me.
Bless you. So yeah, they pick up him and Nate the Knight are traveling slowly but surely, making their way across a post-apocalyptic world in hopes to find somebody who had his condition and was cured. They are able to stumble upon a small town that he has a lead in. They go and talk to the sheriff. And the sheriff says, I'm happy to give you some information on the guy. I'm familiar with the guy, but I'm not giving you the information unless you deal with this problem. There's been a bandit, for lack of better terms, that's been coming into town, setting off bombs, and while they're dealing with the explosion, he's been stealing stuff. And Geiger and Nate the Knight track him down, have a high-speed action scene on a train, and ultimately catch him when he's running for his life, and he catches him at the feet of his family and kid. You find out that he's just stealing stuff to feed his loved ones. Geiger pretty much tells him, get out of town, don't come back, and I'll let you live. He takes him up on it. But the electrician that we were introduced to at the end of issue 1, who's tracking down Geiger, ends up tracking, in the midst of tracking down Geiger, comes across this guy and murders him and his family. So we get a good look at his face. I still think he looks like Ben Franklin that we've seen in a red coat, and he's an electrician. He looks like Ben Franklin. He could be immortal. We were taught that immortals exist in the unnamed universe, thanks to Red Coat and the story going on over there. But I'm excited where it'll go from here. The way that they kind of formatted this story, we get to see how harsh the living conditions are in this post-apocalyptic world. Tariq, Geiger, and Nate are forced to eat. They haven't eaten in days, and they come across a boar, and they find it with its companion and its babies, and they have to kill one. They have to kill one to eat to survive. They left the mom and the kids, but they had to kill the dad. So you're able to compare that with the scenario at the end of the book when he catches up with this bandit in that same situation. Doing what he has to do out of necessity. He's got his wife and kids, but this time he let the guy live. It was unfortunate that the electrician had other plans, but it's introducing heart, it's introducing motive, direction into the story with this second issue. Knowing that it's ongoing, I couldn't be more excited. Can't wait to see where it goes next. Paul, you are muted. Oh, you're back. You alive?
I am alive. Had a little bit of a coughing fit there for a second.
It's a close one.
Sneezing and
Also,
coughing.
this week, I don't know if you picked any of them up, but all the second prints dropped. So if you missed issue 1, they sold out across the board. They were rushed to a second print and already out. That Geiger that came out. So I grabbed that, and then of course Red Coat, and these were all wraparound covers for the first prints. They are as well for the second prints.
Yep.
So I have a clear back them, beautiful hitch art on there, and the same thing with Jason Fubak and the Rook Exodus #1. So those are dope, and also me and Paul got something in the mail today that Francis Manifold released his first cover outside of the Ghost Machine 1 preview book. And it's a Red Coat, issue #1 in a foil.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful, beautiful cover.
Very nice.
Absolutely wicked. Absolutely wicked good stuff there. I had to walk away.
We did not talk about Star Trek Discovery yet, no.
What happened in it?
Well, basically the Breen are coming for the two people that the Discovery have been chasing. The Breen have this huge dreadnought ship that basically it dwarfs any of the Federation ships, and they basically they're chasing the two that happen to be on the Discovery at the time. And so the captain, Captain Burnham, and has to figure out a way to keep their prisoners, but to not have the Breen destroy both all of the ships and Starfleet headquarters and everything else as well. And it was done in a pretty good way. So they had book check out a library card. Yes, that's true too. Yes. So they're still following the clues to get to the progenitor's power. So they have one more piece to go, but they're kind of stuck here facing off against the Breen. And if you know the Breen, if you're at all a Star Trek fan, you know the Breen are some of the deadliest foes at the end that that Starfleet has. So,
how many episodes are left in this season before we get to the movie stuff?
I think we have 2 more. I think maybe 3 more. I think that was episode 7, so maybe 3 more.
Are they actively shooting the movie? Is it already shot, or
the movie is Section 31 movie is already done. It's completed. It's finished. That's really the only other thing that they're shooting is, and they may have finished that, is season 3 of Strange New Worlds, and then they're going to be moving into Starfleet Academy, which is going to be their next show that they're going to be doing. But those are the only things that are shooting right now. So, yeah, very sad. But I'm thinking that we may see more of the Discovery crew, though, because it's set. Starfleet Academy is going to be set in the same timeline, so it's not going to be set in the earlier timeline. It's going to be set in the Discovery timeline in the far future.
I want to check out the movie. There ain't no way I'm going to be able to get caught up on all this backlog stuff, but I'll definitely check out the movie when it drops. See how it goes.
Yeah, Michelle Yeoh.
Paul, question. Did you read Shazam #11?
I did.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. You could have told me beforehand.
Yeah. Yo, I'm dropping that series, I think. I keep saying that.
I will say that for once, in the interior, although it does appear on the cover, at least on this cover anyway, there's not a single dinosaur to be found.
No, there's a bunny. There's definitely a bunny. And the last one I have that I read this week was Transformers issue #8, Daniel Warren Johnson's story, still rocking and rolling, with Jorge Corona's art, which is a perfect follow-up. Like, his art is amazing. This one is, there's a lot that happens in this one. It actually felt like a thicker issue than normal. I doubt it was, but you have the Decepticons grouping up and making a play for their next move. Like, they they've licked their wounds. They got a new leader in Soundwave, and they actually went to the bottom of the ocean to get Nemesis, the ship that they followed the Ark in on their journey to Earth. They're going to fire it up. Found some backup and some recruits inside Nemesis. They also reached out to Cybertron, and they are now in active communication with Shockwave, who's my favorite villain. On the Autobot side, Optimus is having visions of Spike as a kid. As you know, like his dad gave his life and evaporated into the Matrix to bring Optimus back. So it's like his dad's essence still inside of Optimus. And they're trying to get rebuilt. They have, I think it was Thundercracker, who's fused into Teletron. So they actually are slowly getting their team rebuilt and everything. Jetfire was fired back up. He has no ability to transform. He can't see or anything. He's just a transport. They needed a transport, but it was good seeing Jetfire back. It was really just like a gathering of forces on both sides, and it was a good issue. Definitely a good issue. It hasn't been a bad issue of that yet. It's been fantastic. Well, that's all I had for this week's reads.
Yeah, me too.
But the slow week did give me the ability to finally read the finale to Kick-Ass. Mark Miller is just, I'm still getting balls deep in the Miller world. This was amazing. Like, John Romita Jr. is doing his best work in this Kick-Ass series. It came and went. It was amazing. Every single issue of it was worth reading. It's pretty much Christopher, McLovin, who is in the movie. His uncle comes in and starts trying to take over and coordinate all the crime families on the East Coast in the absence of Christopher and his dad. And meanwhile, Kick-Ass can't get anything up and running because Mindy's been in jail and life's just difficult. And it's really like nonstop all the way to the bitter end. And it's wild how it ends. It was really good. And it's actually like beautifully linked to the opening of book one. It was fantastic. And knowing that it goes from there to Big Game is just even better. Even better. I highly recommend, if you've seen the movie Kick-Ass and you enjoyed it, you'll love the books even more. Like Kick-Ass Volume 1 and 2 follow movie 1 and 2 very closely. They were great adaptations. And if you want to know how it all actually ends, go pick up Kick-Ass Volume 3. With the way they repackage these in the most recent trade paperbacks, it's just called the Dave years. And it says there's 4 volumes. But there was 3 volumes of Kick-Ass and 1 Hit Girl. Hit Girl is book 2. So Hit Girl is considered the Dave years of Kick-Ass. So you get 4 volumes. But if you're not worried about the Hit Girl one, just get 1, 3, and 4. Or just, if you've seen both movies, just go get book 4. I mean, they're that close. So that was amazing. I'm just going to tack it up with the Miller World stuff. And I've already got Starlight that I'm going to try to get through this week. Another one that I haven't read yet. I'm trying to get the last of these few that I haven't read knocked out. We have Nemesis Rogues Gallery coming up really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Big Game came. It was a huge hit. Nemesis is coming back. Mark Miller moved to Dark Horse. So Dark Horse will actually have a book like that's not like a licensed property or something like. So I don't know what they offered him or how they had money to do it, or if he owed them a favor or what, but Mark Miller took Miller World to Dark Horse, so I'll be picking that up for sure. Excited for it. But yeah, it was a huge week this week. A lot of stuff to discuss. Hopefully next week will be even bigger. I'm not sure what's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think. I think the only movie that comes out really is. I think it's If. I think, right?
I don't know. I don't keep up with that.
That's
like cartoon, right? With Ryan Reynolds or something.
Well, it's live action. It's not a cartoon.
Yeah, the cartoon imaginary guy or
Imaginary
something.
Friends. Yeah, If stands for Imaginary Friends. So, and then the week after is Furiosa, I think.
That I'll be going to the big screen to see. Yo, did you see where the guy who did The Northerner, Edgar Wright,
Mm-hmm.
phenomenal director, writer-director, like A-tier creator, like movie director, watched Furiosa, and he put out a comment that he said, God, man, I can't even remember. I've got to look this up. This quote just like had me so excited. So freaking excited.
George Miller said that the star of Furiosa only has 30 lines of dialogue in the entire movie
Man, I'm not even going to be able to find this.
because the rest of it is just all action.
Yeah, it's kind of like Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy had apparently like 54 lines of dialogue.
Yeah, Anya Taylor-Joy is the actress playing Furiosa. Right. Here we go. Found it. Edgar Wright's actual quote is, "Filmmakers and fans will leave with their heads spinning. I felt both inspired and envious. There was a point during a midway set piece where I leant over to a friend and said, 'How the F does he do this?'" That was Edgar Wright's quote about George Miller's movie here. I think it's going to be fantastic. Mad Max Fury Road was amazing. So I'm looking forward to this one. George Miller he has such a unique vision, and I don't know. We'll see. We'll definitely be checking that one out. So again, I appreciate everybody coming and hanging out. We're about to hit 10 o'clock. Make sure you go check out Trev, the shipping guru. Him and Evil Mike will be going live to hang out and unbox some stuff and get everybody through the next little hour of their evening. Hope everybody has a good week. Be sure to check out Sector 2815. You can just hit the description down below and click right on his little link, take them right to this channel. And you can find us over there in the morning at 10 a.m. diving deep on Batman 147 and keeping you up to date on all things House of Brainiac leading into absolute power. So I appreciate everybody coming and hanging out. And until next time, as always, I'm Mark, but we are Legion.